My name is Lars Asmis. I'm from Switzerland. I live and work in Zurich. I am now in private practice, and I have built up a coagulation laboratory where I do all kinds of coagulation testing, including platelet function, routine and standard tests. I had an education in general internal medicine, and later on as a hematologist. Worked at several universities before I left the University of Zurich 6 years ago. Well, I alluded to that in the beginning. In meetings in Switzerland often are in German or in French, so in a language that we learn in school. The meeting here is primarily in Russian, so it's stimulating to both sides to open their minds to listen to a language that they don't understand, and that is translated by someone who probably is not a specialist in the field. So the translation service here is excellent from what I've heard. I've not seen or heard any mistakes, so I'm really positively surprised by that. But that certainly is a challenge to have a good translation that the people can interact. There are multiple purposes, I would think. One is to just get together to talk, to get doctors from Russia and other areas to talk to people from Switzerland. We have different ways of approaching problems, and by simply defining the differences, we can see what we can learn from the other system. We have a system where maybe we can show ways that are functional to our Russian colleagues, but certainly it also goes the other way around. So it's a back and forth thing. It's not a one-way knowledge transfer. I don't think that Professor Spahn and myself are here to teach wisdom to the Russians. That would be completely out of scale and not a sensible thing to attempt. So I think the communication of systems and learning from there is a key feature. It's essential. It's essential for the transfer of knowledge. I mean, if one country has done a series of experiments, then other countries should be able to benefit from them based on verifications. The same counts for a Russian woman who has a peripartum bleeding, might help people in Switzerland also improve the care and treatment of Swiss pregnant women. So the sharing of practices, if possible, based on evidence, and then you can validate such experiences in the own settings. In my mind, it's absolutely essential. It used to be, for instance, in Switzerland, that the coagulation experts were a small group of people which sat in the laboratory, didn't leave the laboratory, and people in the operation rooms bled and bled and bled, and neither the laboratory nor the operation room could find a solution. Nowadays, the management has been changed for people to communicate. So the anesthesiologist who sees the person in the operating room, the surgeon who is also in the operating room, the coagulation expert is involved ideally early, and they meet at one point and they discuss the cases and they learn from them. So without interdisciplinary approaches, including conferences together, including case discussions at the hospitals where you work, including national and international guidelines, are absolutely essential. Hypothesize about new models, how we can improve our care for patients. Those are aspects that I have 3 lectures about at this meeting. The translational service is absolutely outstanding. They translate at a fraction of a second. I have no idea how they do that. The people are nice. We communicate astonishingly good despite the language barrier. I try not to go to meetings with high expectations. I admit I had fears, the fear of problems with communications, and that was the most positive surprise so far. There almost are none. I mean, over lunch I had young researchers and doctors come to me and say, well, couldn't we do this and couldn't we do that, and we have this question, we have that question. So we spent lunch together hypothesizing and talking about research and clinical practice. That's the best sign, when people come up and talk to you, and it doesn't matter what academic title you have or what hair color or whatever, that you just discuss and try to find common solutions or common projects.